Rubenstock, the Finnish pro, is perhaps the best player in the world at carrying Nomad games from pawns. In this game, Ruben is playing as the Turks, and he'll be using their elite cannon Galleons to completely fry our team's bases, destroying town centers, and taking ridiculously efficient trades against our armies, while dominating huge amounts of the map with this incredible Turkish navy. Let's see how he does it. Ruben gets started with a double dock boom in this pond. This is pretty atypical, as most players will only add one dock in the early game, but he wants to get additional fishing ships out so that he can have a huge food eco in this pond. As such, he's got much more villagers on wood than any other player in this game. As he pushes in that deer, he actually only eats it with 2 villagers. He goes up to 10 fishing ships in his pond, while player 5, his ally, only has 7 fish in his pond. Ruben actually has less deep fish remaining in his pond though. He's only got 150 deep fish in his pond, while player 5 has 570. So Ruben will run out of the fish in his pond sooner, but he's planning on using that large wood economy to control the pond with naval units and to get fish traps down. On the way up to Castle Age, Rubenstock will produce 2 galleys as he starts to get fish traps down. He uses these to prevent his opponent, player 3, from docking his pond. Galleys are extremely effective as doing so, because they're the only warship that's able to shoot over docks and prevent the villagers from building them. Really the only way to get into this pond now for player 3 would have been to force a tower down on this eastern shoreline of this pond and then get the dock up, because naval units trade so well against land units that otherwise Rubenstock will be able to control this area and Fishboom it up. We can see why player 3 might have wanted to do this, as Rubenstock's navy has now given his teammate, player 5, the confidence to come forward and drop a castle on player 3's face. These pawns in the middle of the map allow Rubenstock to support his teammates in ways that navy on the outside of the map would not be able to do so. And now that the war galley upgrade has come in, these outrange the town center and will be able to begin just sieging away on this position. Rubenstock takes 1 war galley to scout the southern shoreline and make sure that nobody is docking his pond, because if naval units get in this pond, they may be able to contest Ruben's navy and push him off of the water. We'll skip ahead to the point where this castle goes up, and we'll see that once the castle is up, both the war galleys and the castle are forcing tons of repairs out of player 3's villagers. Town centers are the most expensive buildings to repair, and this 2,000 damage dealt by the war galleys is worth almost 500 wood in town center repairs. Player 3 starts to run out of wood, and his villagers go idle while he's trying to get up to Castle Age. Rubenstock will use this position to get gill nets and continue to Fishboom in this pond, and he's actually gotten up to 50 eco in this game, which is the most in the game, while still providing great military value for his team. He's able to boom and go for army from this pond position, and player 3 runs out of wood for a second time, while his entire economy is migrating across the map to evade the follow-up units from player 5. I send in a knight to raid Rubenstock, and I will kill this first villager, but he gets the quick house down, and he walls off this wood line. My knight will be forced to retreat here, because it'll just take damage from the town center if I try to dive these villagers. And what I'm really lacking here is a forward sea shop, but I'm coming from all the way across the map, and it's probably not really the best decision to send knights this far without a forward villager for siege. Meanwhile, Rubenstock repositions a fish so that it doesn't die to red steppe lancer, and he'll send the war galleys over to continue to protect his economy. The steppe lancer backs away, but it does get poked down by the war galleys, and then the war galleys will continue to clear up this next lancer that's attacking the next house. It gets kited in towards the war galleys, and then it tries to back away, but it dies before it does so. The war galleys have now done 3,600 damage, which is just ridiculous value for any unit. And he's completely controlling this pond while just booming up towards the Imperial Age. Rubenstock clicks up, and he'll be the first player to imp, and he's got 24 fishing ships and 83 total eco, still by far the most in the game. On the way up to imp, he's preparing ponds in the northern bay and in the western pond that his teammate player 5 has started to lose to P2. He's going to use the bay and these 2 ponds to dominate the middle and the north of the map. His first 2 cannon galleons come out, and he immediately starts prioritizing docks, because docks can produce units that will kill the cannon galleons. If they're able to freely siege at the land, There's really nothing that can stop these units. He's also added war galleys in the center pawn, and he'll upgrade these to Galleons. He wants to be able to contest player 2's navy, which is already present in the pawn, so he can't go straight cannon Galleon here. Ruben's cannons begin sieging away on Bell's town center, and they will do so much damage so quickly to a TC. 3 cannons should basically 3-shot this TC, and Bell tries to repair it, but it's super expensive to repair, and there's really just no chance of keeping it up against this many siege units. The town center will go down, and it's costing Bell a ton of wood to keep this town center alive for as long as he even did. Bell will rotate some monks over to try to deal with these units, because he needs an answer, and because the town center's gone down, he'll just build a mill to farm in this area. Ruben fires a volley of cannons, killing half the monk army immediately, and he'll just continue to poke these down. Cannon galleons are just so strong against land units, and these are truly not that great of an option as just Castle Age monks. But these cannons can get up to 17 range, so even imp monks with 11 range don't really stand that much of a chance. Red has castle dropped Rubenstock's eastern pawn, and will be getting docks up in that area, while player 3 has brought a navy from the outside to attack Ruben's navy in the northern bay. This is part of the reason why pawns are so powerful on Nomad maps, because you won't be able to be attacked by leftover navy from the initial contest in the feudal age. But because player 3 had these leftover ships and access to this bay, he's able to simply sail in, and he's able to kill Rubenstock's northern navy. It did a ton of damage to Bell's base, but Rubenstock obviously would have liked to keep this alive, and if he had been looking in this area, he probably would have hit some attack grounds on the fire ships on the way in, but he was being castle dropped in the eastern pawn, and you can only look in one place at once. And though he's lost control over the northern bay, he's gotten cannon galleons out in the west now, and cannon galleons out in the east. And once again, we'll see Rubenstock prioritizing docks over castles. He's going ahead and sieging down player 2's dock, because he knows if a mass of fire ships comes out, they will have the potential to push back his navy. These are elite cannon galleons with the Turkish unique tech artillery, so he's able to assume a massive amount of map control from these 2 pawns. Notice the complete lack of our team's buildings in these areas, other than the ones that are currently being sieged down by cannon galleons. Ruben has enough galleons in this pawn to deal with a trickle of fire ships out of this dock, but he will continue to siege these down as much as possible. Red continues his admirable efforts to redock this pawn, but he would need several docks to take control of this area. Rubenstock's cannon galleons are once again giving player 5 the confidence to come forward and drop a forward castle. Rubenstock begins sieging down our stable that's researching Cavalier, and it was definitely a mistake to build it in this area. But then the cannon galleons turn away at the last minute, and the stable survives at 108 HP. This is a very fortunate break for me, and it's really the rare time in this game that we'll see the cannon galleons fail to finish the job. Rubenstock did pull these cannon galleons away for a good reason, as he wanted to assist player 5 in this castle war against P2. Another cannon galleon does pop out and finishes off the dock after Cavalier has completed. Rubenstock's eastern cannon galleons have cleared up this castle, and just one of his cannons is poking away at Red's town center, but he realizes the rest are idle, and he targets the TC with them, denying Imperial Age. And Red doesn't really have anywhere to go. Rubenstock is now targeting our Savara stable, and he's got 4 cannons on this, and it doesn't look like I'll be lucking out again. It's got 108 HP, but another volley is fired, and the cannon galleons do finish the job, and they'll just continue to siege away at this position. Player 3's university is also in this area, so he'll have chemistry denied, and ballistics behind it also will not come in. He's going for elite elephant archers right now, so it's actually quite a big deal that he won't have this final attack upgrade or the accuracy boost from ballistics. Rubenstock's cannon galleons are just completely working this area and have now denied Savar, Chem, and Imp, and they've also destroyed Bell's base while controlling this entire map. They've done 50,000 damage at this point, and he's even adding docks on the outside because he realizes that he's pretty much taken full control over the 2 central pawns. He's got about 6 cannon galleons in each of these 2 pawns, and he'll just come down and start working away at P3's town centers. Once these are cleared up, he'll be able to start engaging against this elephant archer mass as well, and just completely carrying this position. The elephants dive the castle along with my Savars, and we don't have Trebs in this area, unfortunately. And the elephant archers, when they get hit by these cannons, they lose all of their HP, and they're so susceptible to splash damage from units like cannon galleons or onagers. Rubenstock's navy has been created in the north, and he'll just start by poking down Red's fishing ships. This fishing ship cannot be long for this world, and it is indeed a gunner. These cannons will now be able to control the entire northern shore. Part of the reason that cannon galleons are so oppressive and so strong is because they have 9 pierce armor. That means that traditional land ranged units, like arbalists, which do 10 damage, or cav archer units, which do up to 11 damage in imp, will only be doing 1 or 2 damage per hit. So I've got the idea to try to create hand cannons here because they've got 17 pierce damage. And that 17 minus 9 leaves us with 8 damage per hit. So even though we won't kill these cannon galleons too quickly, if we can kind of get on top of them with the hand cannons, it'll be great. If Rubenstock's microing, our hand cannons don't really stand a chance. Player 3 tries to step up with his elephant archers into this cannon galleon fleet, but they've got 63,000 damage, and that damage will convince those elephant archers to back away. Again, splash damage from siege units like this is really the best counter to elephant archers because it'll take down the entire army's HP, and they just really don't stand a chance. These units do have 11 attacks, so they do 2 damage per hit against the cannon galleons, but that's still about 95 attacks. Rubenstock's beautiful navy is sailing into Bel's base, and the nightmare has resumed for Bel, where he's got cannon galleons on his town centers, and he won't be able to take any resources on the north of the map until this is addressed. We see the cannon galleons are possibly in a position where we can attack them with the hand cannons, so we dive with our Savar and start to pressure this position. Rubenstock is distracted, and our hand cannons do get on top of the cannon galleons. We're fortunate enough that the cannon galleons are actually targeting this hand cannon to the west of the map. This is a huge win for us, and actually the first time I tried that strategy, but it's been a great way to retake this position that seemed otherwise completely lost. Rubenstock's northern navy is just continuing to dominate, and Bel's wood line will start to be cleared up, he'll lose villagers, and eventually will realize that he cannot continue in this position. With Rubenstock's navy and the western pond cleared, we're finally able to step up and start sieging these castles properly. We now have a decent position, and even though we don't have a ton of siege, we're at least not losing all of our units to cannon fire. The eastern pond is still fully under Rubenstock's control, and he's taken exception to Red trying to mine this gold. Red will come in with his elite step lancers, and the lancers' 1 range will give them a small advantage here, but the cannons kind of auto back up due to their minimum range, and then Ruben realizes that the attack is happening, so he'll retreat. Unfortunately, he doesn't go for the big attack round on that clump of step lancers, which could have been beautiful. But the step lancers will be forced to retreat, and Rubenstock will just go ahead and start sieging down this castle, which player 3 realizes is a bad decision and goes ahead and deletes. The cannon galleons will then go ahead and start to clear up these gold villagers. Cannon galleons don't kill villagers that quickly, but it's still not really the best working environment. Rubenstock's navy in the north splits off. His galleons go to kill player 3's cannon galleons, and his cannons will come to the south and help in this choke point against player 8. Our Savar and Elephant Archers, now that they're not being constricted by cannon galleons, are able to dive on top of these Arbalists, and Arbalists just don't really stand a chance against these power units. This starts to signal the end of the game, as we've been able to break through to this one secure area that the enemy team has in the north. Ruben's cannons are once again up to 56,000 damage even after losing so many of them, and they've been such a force in this game. They're continuing to control this area and allowing player 6 to push back, but the game does come to an end, and Rubenstock's team starts to tap out. This was such a fun game to play, and I hope it was a lot of fun for you too. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.